Welcome to Control Risks Expert Insight. Today we're joined by Matt Hinton. Matt is a control risk partner in New York City, specializing in assisting organizations with important risk and resilience matters, including crisis management, business continuity, product recall, enterprise risk management, and strategic risk analysis. In the video today, Matt will be discussing what lies ahead and what to prepare for when planning business resumption. Over to you, Matt.
The reduction of some of the longer hours and burdens on the crisis management team. One of the things we didn't get a chance to talk about on this webinar, but it's important as it relates to this point is, company leaders are starting to burn out. We are seeing it at many of our clients right now, but hopefully with this move that provides an opportunity to change that. And so if they have not already been involved, this is a very good time to introduce backups into the equation. It is also a very good time to create operational teams that can support the overarching crisis management team and take that burden off of the small group. The companies that are really doing this well have done that, and they're using their executives to make key decisions. They're not using their executives to have their hands in every single aspect of this thing. So if things slow down and there is additional time to contemplate what's going to come next, I think there's two major things that companies need to be thinking about. Number one, companies will continue to experience significant challenges in this new business as usual, right? Things like temporary loss of workforce due to the virus, things like whether there's potential shutdown of key sites, including manufacturing sites, disruption to supply chains, changes in demand, right? All of these scenarios are very real, but for many companies, just because of how fast this has been moving and how quickly they needed to make decisions, they haven't been focusing on those things, and they've been focusing on what's right in front of them and what's being put on them. So hopefully as things slow down, you can start thinking about those future state scenarios so that you can get ahead of them and don't need to make those decisions on the fly, like a lot of companies have had to do over the last couple of weeks. One of the things we see companies struggle with in this space is around understanding their critical functions and dependencies like people and vendors. And when people often roll their eyes at me when I throw the term business impact analysis around, but I can tell you that companies that have taken the time before this to have done a robust business impact analysis are far more prepared to deal with some of these trickier scenarios that are coming than others. And I'm not suggesting by any stretch of imagination that you stop everything you do in the middle of a crisis and perform a BIA, but I am suggesting that as things begin to slow down, taking a pulse of leadership to really understand priorities, really understand critical functions and dependencies will go a long way to help you navigate this complex future and these future state scenarios around sites being closed, around supply chain, around demand, around people. The number two thing I would say about the future, and we hold on to this belief very strongly, is that this is going to end at some point. And so you need to think about recovery, right? We cannot just be thinking about the response right in front of us. And we need to be thinking about how are we going to transition back to business as usual or some new form of business as usual that has come out of this. So again, as things start slowing down, it's important to start thinking through those and how you will return post-crisis. This will include things like how do you transition back from a work from home environment back to an office environment? How you're going to deal with potential surges in demand, right? If we look at past crises like this, we see a very quick rebound afterwards, and companies are going to need to be able to scale up when they've just spent so much time scaling down. So it's really important to think about this, and quite honestly, recovery is often that forgotten son when it comes to crisis management, but it's incredibly important to get right if you're going to navigate this thing across the entire spectrum of the crisis.